First one. The Greeks believed that leadership was a product of natural endowment. Write it down. What does that mean? The Greeks believed that certain humans were born with, endowed with certain unique characteristics. And if you weren't born with those qualities, then their conclusion was you were created by the divine gods to be a slave. They believe that. So it doesn't matter what you think about yourself. They would study you and see if you have those natural endowments. If you don't have them, it doesn't matter how many degrees you get from college. You are simply an educated slave. That's a Greek idea. Another one of their beliefs is this: leadership is a product of birth traits. The Greeks believed that you who were born with certain unique traits were automatically leaders. Those who were born without those traits are automatically slaves. So their society was very, very neat. No traits, traits. Slaves, leaders. Let me give you an example, because when I read the traits, I became a little bit sick. One of the traits were, if you were born with sharp pointed nose, blue eyes, fair skin like white, and thin lips. This is written in their document. You were born to be a leader. Now you know I canceled, right? That's it for me. I done lost a long time. I got dark skin, big nose, my lips big, and my hair is not blonde, and my eyes ain't blue. I'm a slave. So putting on a suit and wearing a tie didn't impress them. You are simply a well-dressed slave. See, some of y'all think that changed. That's why I'm getting to it slowly. I'm working my way there. See, some of y'all think that because you came back home with a PhD, that they ain't gonna bring the white consultant in and work over you. And you got more degrees. Because somewhere in their twisted mind, they are still sick with Greek thinking. This permeates our structures. It permeates the fabric of our leadership. That's why I am so weird when I be among them. I'd be so ashamed that they even think that way. How can you think that we're not good enough to own something? Because they're being convinced by the Greeks. Here's the problem. When the Greeks were invaded by the Romans invaded this culture of the Greeks, but the Romans normally would go into a place and, wipe out the place. But when they came to Greece, they saw the beautiful temples, they saw all these gods, and beautiful statues, and then the Romans came to the capital and they saw the library with all these scrolls, all these writings, thousands of scrolls, and the Romans were so impressed. Now the Romans are military guys. They're not into thinking. They're into fighting. So when they came to Greece, they were astonished. They said, no other civilization is like this. So instead of destroying the library, the Romans saved it. And the Romans took the books from the library back to Rome. And the Romans studied and adopted Greek theory of leadership. Do you know what the Romans did? The Romans destroyed themselves because no one could destroy them. They were so powerful. They destroyed themselves by immorality. Rome was destroyed, they say, by the loins of the Caesars. Their sexual life destroyed them. And we're on our way there again. 14 Caesars ruled Europe. 14. 12 were homosexuals. And they liked little boys. And Rome was destroyed by immorality. We're heading that way again. People think, this is new stuff, talking about homosexuality. I'm sitting there going, you old. Some of you hear me say that. You think I'm not throwing jazz. This is nothing new. We're on our way down if we go this way. History has proven you don't go this way. You self-destruct. Rome proved it. Rome was destroyed by immorality. Their value systems collapsed. They became so preoccupied with the flesh, with pleasure. No one could destroy them from outside. So they imploded. They rot from the inside. The Roman Empire rot. Matter of fact, they were so rotten that they used to kill each other, citizen brothers, to keep the throne. You read some of the stories, you won't believe the stories. They became so immoral, so valueless, that they would kill their own brother to keep the throne. Sleep with their own mother and their sister, incest, to keep a child on the throne from their own family, because they had no sons or daughters. They would exchange sex. These guys, they destroyed themselves. Immorality. And there are people today standing up in parliaments and senates, standing up in Congress, and they just fighting for the same thing the Romans were destroyed by. So the French and the Spanish and the Portuguese and the British, Anglo, call them Anglican, they decided to expand their kingdoms. So they came to Africa and the Caribbean. And we call it colonization. Colonization is the expansion of Greek leadership philosophy. So going to Africa and bringing slaves over as merchandise was easy. Why? Big nose, big lip, dark skin, peasy head, black eyes. I found 1 million servants, they say. So they come to the West, they establish their plantations, whether it is Carolina or Florida or Louisiana or the Bahamas or Jamaica or Barbados or St. Kitts or St. Thomas or St. Lucia or Guyana or Mexico. They had their plantations and they couldn't use the people they met here because they killed them out with disease. And so they went and found some divine slaves chosen by the gods to work the ground. And they brought them over on ships. And the first ones to bring them was the Portuguese. The Portuguese told the British, we found some people to work the farms. And the British said, where you got them from? They follow us. And they went to the west coast of Africa. And then the French found out. The French says, oh, let's go get some too. And then the Spanish says, oh, let's get some too. And everybody started dashing for divine slaves. Remember, divine means you were chosen by the gods. It's not racism. It's leadership philosophy. We were being led. And they convinced you. Matter of fact, if you read the writings of the oppressor, they wrote things like this. They read the Bible on you. They said, now you must be good slaves. And they gave us Jesus. You wonder why, the black Muslims and people like that rose up? Because they even used Jesus as part of manipulation. Jesus said you must be nice slaves. And then you'll go to heaven. If you go to heaven, you'll get robe and shoes. You can't get them now because we ain't giving you none. But, you get them and you get to heaven. So now so the slave in the farm starts singing, I got a shoe. Massa, you got a shoe. All of God's children got a shoe. But I ain't gonna get mine until I go to heaven. I'll walk all over. See, in other words, you get yours now, Massa. I can get mine when I go to heaven. All of that is brainwashing. Those songs that we used to glory and call Negro spiritual, you need to read the words of those songs. They are strong songs of conversion for your mind to make sure you never rise above. I used to sing them, so don't look at me funny. I was born in a little town called Baintown. That was a village of slaves. I'm trying to show you where leadership problems come from. So for 394 years, they ruled these islands, and they made all of us believe you were born to clean my house. You were created to plant my corn. You were sent by God to wash my clothes and cook for my children. And so there we were stuck in the back room. Oh, by the way, you know, you ain't got no charisma, so you must be seen and not heard. You see, that's part of the system. So you're supposed to work, but no one's supposed to see you. And so the little slave walk around the house cooking, and that's, you know, and they ain't supposed to be around when master got friends. See, the whole thing, psychological. That's why some of you all are timid. You are so timid today, and you think you're cool. Timidity was taught. That is why when a man of my pigmentation speaks up, it makes them nervous, because you ain't behaving. Some of y'all wonder why they thought Martin Luther King was a problem. Because he was a black man talking loud. You ain't supposed to talk loud. Stay in your southern church, have church with a stained glass window, and shout by yourself. Don't come out here telling us we're wrong. That was the problem. It was a leadership problem.